You're listening to The Bible Guys, a podcast where a couple of friends talk about the Bible in fun and practical ways.
Well, good morning, Jeff.
Oh, I thought you were going to sing. Yeah, I thought you were going to sing to me today.
I gotcha.
Oh, I got so excited. My heart just leapt, and then you just yanked it.
It was a womp womp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guess
Stomped
what?
on it.
It'll come on another day, Jeff.
Oh,
It'll come.
Yep. You just develop that appetite.
So good morning, everybody, or evening. But welcome to the Bible Guys. I'm Chris. This is Jeff, and we are two friends who talk about the Bible in fun and practical ways. That's what they say. What nerve of them calling us friends.
That's right.
And now Desiree has us doing a segment before we launch into what is going to be a riveting discussion.
I'm quite certain of it.
Yes. But Desiree wants us to do the very famous and lovely Who's Most Likely.
Oh, yeah. These are good.
Yeah. So who's most likely to do these things? We'll just vote on me or you. Ready?
Okay. Yes.
Number one. Who's most likely to Google something instead of just asking?
Just asking who?
I guess that's assuming that there's an answer available by asking a question.
Like if we're talking and something comes up, we just Google instead of ask each other?
I suppose.
Yeah. I'm quick to Google.
I'm pretty quick to Google,
You're
too.
pretty quick to Google?
Yeah. So
but who's most likely?
I Google something every time.
Okay.
And I will say this, too.
Well, I have this vault of unnecessary information in my head.
So I Google more than you, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, but like I Google stuff that doesn't matter. So, like for instance, I'll say, oh, what was the name of that movie again? And I just will not let it go.
Oh, so you got to look it up.
Yeah, I got to look it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
So I'm gonna.
So we're gonna vote for Chris today.
We're gonna lean on me.
Okay. Well, who's most likely to eat leftovers that are definitely questionable? I do it often, so I don't know if I'm more likely, but I have no qualms.
Okay, then I'm going to say you. Here's why. Because you seem to be more in charge of those decisions in your household than I have control over mine.
Oh,
because my wife is so I always use the word freak in a loving way. You know, when somebody's like an organized freak, I'll say they're like a freak. You know, so I mean it in a negative way. But I will go on.
So
on record.
She would probably say very conscientious.
I'll go on record and say I do not apologize for saying when it comes to throwing food away, she is a freak.
Oh, okay.
She'll say, oh,
very conscientious.
Yeah, this meatloaf is bad. I'm like, you made it 10 minutes ago.
Right. Okay.
It was bad. It sat out.
No, my family always makes fun because I'm like, what goes wrong in ravioli?
Yeah.
What's gonna get right? What goes bad in sausage? Right. Yeah. So I'm always my family won't eat stuff, and I'm still eating it.
I'm already anticipating that my wife is going to yell at me and for calling her a freak.
I called her conscientious.
Yes.
Liz, just so you know.
And she is going to say that she is only following what is recommended because she has shown me before, like plenty of Instagram things.
Sure.
She sent them to me.
Sure.
Where it says, how long can you keep lunch meat? How long can you keep protein?
Yeah.
How long? And she's already sent this to me. And to be honest, she does follow those things.
Sure.
But I think those things are dumb.
Okay. Good.
Yep.
Yeah, the milk, so my family members, my daughter, my son, my wife, all in our house, they still, if it's best by, it doesn't say must use by, just best by. There's a big difference between use by and best by, right? Use by the way, use by means either use it or freeze it.
Right.
And if you freeze it, you can keep it for months longer, and then still come back out. And if you thaw it out and use it right then you're still fine, right? The best buy is just a freshness thing. It's totally fraudulent thing. But man, they'll throw it away. They will throw it away. We throw away so much food that we don't need to throw away. But anyways, yeah. That's always my question. What goes bad in
ravioli?
Goulash?
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. In gabagool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Number 3. Who's most likely to argue with Apple Maps? I'd say you because you are standing on the higher moral ground, not moral ground, the higher map ground.
Yeah. So I don't argue with if it says to turn right, I turn right. For real, I don't.
Well, then
my wife argues with Google Maps all the time.
But not Apple Maps?
Well, any of the maps things. She's like, that's not the right way. And she goes another way. I'm like, girl, you don't even know where you are. If there's not a Starbucks on the corner or a Target on the corner, she doesn't know where she is.
Well, I will say this. When Apple first came out, and they didn't use like good sources like Google,
sure.
They were inaccurate for a long time.
For a while,
Yeah, and every once in a while, there is something that shows up that isn't quite accurate.
So you argue with Apple Maps?
Well, let me tell you what happened. This is totally worth it. I'm going to take 60 seconds.
Okay,
Ready for this?
please.
So one time I typed in an address because my old administrative assistant at my previous church said, "Hey, you're doing a funeral all the way on the east side of town, like way on the east side." She goes, "Why don't you just stop by my house and go in my house and use my house to take a shower and change into your suit after you do X, Y, and Z?" And I said, "Great." So I typed in the address and I pulled into the driveway where it told me. I could even see on the Apple Maps, like third house on the left, right? So I pull in the address, or pull in the house, open the door, go all the way upstairs in the master bedroom, take a shower, get my suit on, and as I'm getting my suit on, I look at all the pictures on the wall and realize it's the neighbor across the street. That's the honest to God truth.
Oh my goodness!
I broke into a stranger's house, went up to their master bedroom and showered in their room.
Oh my God.
And then she had to tell them what had happened in case there was any evidence of a stranger breaking in their house.
No,
that's true. And that was Apple Maps that did it to me.
Okay, so I thought it was weird that you would be like, "Oh, okay, I'll go over to one of my employees' house to take a shower." So
But nobody was home.
I know, but it's still weird to me. Like I wouldn't do that. It just feels weird to me. But then you did the weird thing wrong and went to the wrong house. And so
hey, Apple Maps, man. That was not my fault. That was an Apple Maps inaccuracy.
Can you imagine what would have happened
if they'd
you
have
come
walked
walking
home?
out there just drying your hair out? Good thing you didn't like make a sandwich or a coffee or something.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then
that's fabulous.
Yeah, she's like, "No, I'm the red house," and I'm like, "What?"
I'm telling you, only you.
I know.
Right.
I know.
The stories.
Yep. Isn't that crazy?
So who's most likely to say I'll be there in 5 minutes when they haven't left yet?
Oh, yeah, that would definitely be me. That would definitely be me. As you look over with your eyes.
Although I was late to the podcast today. So.
Yeah, but you were in the building talking with people,
Yeah.
and that's a work understandable thing. I'm notorious for being late, and I have no excuse, and I am a bad person.
No, you know what you are? You and my executive pastor, Chad,
Yeah.
he's similar to you. Both of you look at your watch and you go, "Oh, I've still got 7 minutes. I'm going to try to do these 9 things.
Yes.
I'm going to make this phone call. I'm going to answer this.
There's
I'm
no
going to take care
question.
of that. Oh, hey, and you see somebody in the hallway and you stop on the way. You're talking on the phone or whatever. You got all these things going on. It's you guys that are highly driven to just get another thing done. Every minute is an opportunity. For me, I'm not that way.
Yeah.
I don't feel a lot of pressure about my schedule. I just keep doing whatever the next thing is.
Yeah.
But I am not good at doing 3 things at one time.
Well, I
do one thing at a time, and I don't even do all those one things well. But if I'm doing 3 things, I might as well not do anything.
I was getting ready this morning to come in. I had a 9:45 meeting that I had, and I actually looked at the clock and it said 9:29. And no, I'm sorry. I thought to myself, I have to leave by 9:29, right? And so I thought, okay. So I looked at the clock and it was like 9:16 or something, and I was like, oh wow, I got time. So instead of coming and just being like 12 minutes early, I decided to do all these things. Then I get in my car and it said like 9:36. I had like 9 minutes, and I was like, "Dude, it's going to take me like 14 to get here at least,
Right.
And then to walk in." And I thought, I'm going to be late again.
And then whenever you have to be somewhere, do you plan? It's 14 minutes from my house to there, and I have to be there at 9:45, so I leave at 9:31 or whatever. 14 minutes. Are you pretty tight like that?
There are times.
Yeah,
I got to be honest, way more than I should.
I'm almost always trying to build a buffer. It doesn't always work, but usually in my mind I'm building a buffer of 5 or 10 minutes. On a thing. So that's funny, man. But that's true. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna need to wrap this up.
Okay, last one.
So who's most likely to laugh so hard they snort?
I do it on a regular basis.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you. I rarely do that.
Yeah, I do.
I usually wheeze.
Yeah. You're a wheezer.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's you.
Is that
and
me?
I'm always like.
Is that me? That's me. That was your invitation to me. Okay, great. You know what? Now that you said that, it's going to be hard to love you because you have postured yourself as an enemy to me, making fun of my...
Did it build up some hostility?
Yeah, it built up some hostility to the point to where you, in this moment, you're my enemy.
You know, one of my goals would be to work towards lasting peace.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
by forgiving
Matthew,
your enemies?
the note that this is incredible. This is incredible this happened today.
Wow.
Because Desiree wrote Matthew 5:43 through 48 teaches us that active love disarms hostility and builds lasting peace.
What a transition.
This is our chance, Chris.
This is our chance.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah, I felt like I should have snorted there. Okay.
Yeah.
So, verse 43 in Matthew chapter 5, built off of the fact that Jesus says God blesses those who work for peace, right?
That's right.
So it says, you've heard the law says, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say, love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. In that way, you'll be acting as true children of your Father in heaven. For he gives his sunlight to both the evil and the good, and he sends rain on the just and the unjust alike. If you love only those who love you, what reward is there for that? Even corrupt tax collectors do that much. If you're kind only to your friends, how are you different from anyone else? Even pagans do that. But you are to be perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. Wow.
And that word perfect means complete.
Complete.
Right? So be complete in your love. Right, is what he's saying. He's not meaning perfect like Denzel Washington in Remember the Titans. You will be perfect. This team will be perfect. Right. Even though that you can never shoot for perfection, but that's not necessarily what he's meaning. He's meaning your faith being complete, your love being complete, to the point to where God's love is demonstrated here. Jesus says, "Hey, everybody needs sunlight for crops. Right? Everybody needs rain." Right? God gives sunlight and rain to the just and the unjust. So therefore, Jesus says, go ahead and love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. Don't just love one group, love the other group. Because, God's definition of love is a new concept in the first century. I mean, think about it. You hear love one another, and you're like, oh, that's as old as time, right? But Jesus says, a new command I give to you, love one another. And he's saying, I want you to love everybody, right? The law of Moses says, hey, there's justification to hate your enemies and those who persecute you. And I'm telling you that you should give grace and mercy and love to even your enemies. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's interesting that there's we love the Life Application Study Bible.
Yeah.
And the note for this passage says, by telling us not to retaliate, Jesus is keeping us from taking the law into our own hands, which really is the foundation to this whole idea. You don't have the right to take the law into your own hands. God has government set up for these reasons, for judgment and execution and all that kind of stuff. But for you God never gives you the right to be a vigilante, right? And it says, by loving and praying for our enemies, we can overcome evil with good. We need God's supernatural help to love people who commit cruel and evil acts. Then it says, the Pharisees interpreted Leviticus 19:18 as teaching that they should love only those who love in return. And then Psalms 139:19 through 22 and 149 through 11 as meaning that they should hate their enemies. David talks about how he hates those who hate God, right? And so they're like, oh, this is justification. As opposed to, we should never make any kind of theology based on the book of Psalms. Right, Psalms and Proverbs, they're poetic books, and they're not legal books or law books. And the Pharisees knew that, but they were happy to justify bad behavior anyways. And so where David poetically is saying, man, I can't stand those people that are against you or hate you, or my enemies that want to kill me, I want to kill them back. They're going, oh, well, then God put that in the Bible. We can go ahead and embrace that idea. And Jesus is saying, no, that's not okay. Right? Jesus says we are to love our enemies. If you act in love for your enemies, treating them well, you will show that Jesus truly rules your life. And this becomes possible when we give ourselves fully to Jesus as Lord, because then he can deliver us from our natural self-centeredness. We must trust the Holy Spirit to help us show love to those for whom we may not feel love, which is, I think, a very powerful idea. It's not that because he's saying, you don't get any credit for loving the people you already love, right? He said even the pagans do that.
Right.
So he's challenging us to love the people that don't feel very loving.
Yeah, I love the idea that in different parts of the Gospels, Jesus tells his disciples, And the phrase that's sticking out in my mind is, he says, with you it shall be different, right? Because whenever he's talking about behaviors.
Yeah, he does. He does that multiple times.
Multiple times, yeah. He says, not so with you. With you it shall be different. And what he's really doing is he's calling us out. Like I forget what passage it is. What passage says we are peculiar people? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and Peter wrote about it.
Yeah, Peter wrote about it. He says we are a called out people, a peculiar people. The King James says peculiar, right? And so it's being in the world but not of the world, being completely different. And so the idea that Christians should be different is something that we need to hold on to, because our behavior needs to be so different than what the world would typically do. And that would definitely include loving your enemies.
Yeah.
I remember so many times I have forced myself to be nice to a teacher that didn't like me, or to go overboard and reward an enemy who, in front of everybody else, and to honor somebody when I could have slammed them, not taking an opportunity to put somebody down, when I could have. I remember there was a, strangely enough, I'm short, right? But I played volleyball, and, in high school, I played decent, and at the time I could have jumped and spiked, and there was this kid who was small, and he was verbal, and he said something to me in front of everybody, in front of the whole gym. And there was a time where they set me up, and I could have just jammed this thing in his face, man. I could have just been like, bam! But instead, I was just like, boop, right? And I just did it. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be the better person.
I'm not going to hurt him when I could.
Right. Yeah. And I could have. Mm-hmm. And there's just certain things that, happen. I remember one time I double tipped a server, we're getting money for being bus boys and things like this. And you're supposed to, go back and forth and tip other people. And he was actually a bar back, But the point is that I should have given him some of my money. Well, it's like 10% or something. Well, I gave him like 25% at the end of the night. And he was like he was my sworn enemy. Right. And anyway. Yeah.
Well, it's those kinds of things. Practical application, Jesus says, but with you it's going to be different. And I think that's the goal, because when you get to the end of this passage, and you already commented on it, but he says, because you're supposed to be perfect even as your Father in heaven is perfect. And we read and hear the word perfect in English very different than what his listeners would have heard. And so we see that word perfect, and I go, man alive, it's hard for me to do it one time right.
Right.
But to do it perfect every time. And so we have to understand that the Greek word there that is translated perfect here for us does mean complete. Mm-hmm. And it's possible for me to be complete in Jesus. Jesus completely forgave my sins. He completely loves me. He completely has set me apart for his own use, and he's going to completely take me to heaven when I die. And in the meantime, he's going to complete this new work he's doing in me. All those things can be true, and at the same time, I can still have room to grow, right? I need to grow more in love. I need to grow more in peacemaking. I can grow more. I can get better at it. Even though God has completely saved me, I still can be better at this. I can be more like Jesus. And this is why he can tell us that you're complete, and at the same time say, grow up in your faith. Grow up into the full stature of Jesus Christ. So if Jesus is my goal, God loves me completely. He's restored me completely. He's bringing me to his kingdom, or redeemed me completely was the word I meant to say. And he's bringing me completely into eternity someday. But there's still work to be done for me to choose, like he said to his disciples. For you, it's going to be different. And I can decide in that moment, okay, in this moment, I don't have to prove anything to anybody because I'm complete in Christ. But I'm going to try to be better at this. And so there's a really great note in the Life Application Study Bible about this. And it says, our shortcomings must never deter us from striving to be more like Jesus. He wants all his disciples to rise above mediocrity and to mature in every area, becoming more and more like him. Those who strive to be perfect will one day be perfect, even as Christ is perfect. That's what 1 John chapter 3 says.
That's great.
Right? So I know I'm going to be perfect someday, but I can also decide not to be a mediocre Christian today. Oh, well, I just have a bad temper. It's just who I am. That's a mediocre choice.
Yeah, lukewarm also, right?
Yeah, as opposed to me going, you know what? Today I'm going to do the best I can do. I can't change tomorrow, and I don't have a promise for tomorrow that I'm going to make a good choice. But right now, in this moment, I'm going to do the best I can to do the right thing. And you're rising above a mediocre Christian life or a lukewarm Christian life, and you're saying, I want to be more like Jesus because I appreciate what Jesus did for me. And I think that this is really that intent, that I am already complete in Christ. I will be perfect in eternity. Between here and there, it's now and not yet at the same time.
Yep.
And so when we're living in the now but not yet time, there's this tension, and I get to choose, am I going to be more like Jesus, or am I just going to keep living like myself?
Hey, Jeff, you complete me. What movie?
Is it Jerry Maguire?
It is Jerry Maguire.
Okay,
I'm so proud of you.
Okay, I found it.
You got one.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I feel so awesome now. Now I finally figured out what it's like to be you.
By the way,
the awesomeness is our ball.
I've had like 7 movie quotes going through my head. When you were talking about we reserve the right to be judge and jury, I was like, Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone and Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
And then when you were talking about the sworn enemies, and I said, oh yeah, I said he was my sworn enemy at work. I was thinking of the sworn enemy of Florin. Remember? Yeah. Which is Princess Bride.
Oh yeah, Princess Bride.
Yeah. So anyway, I had all these movie quotes going through my head the whole time.
So if you can think of it this way, that you are growing up to spiritual maturity. I have a different expectation for my baby. My daughter-in-law is getting ready to have our 3rd granddaughter. By the time this airs, our 3rd granddaughter will be born. You have a different expectation for a newborn than you do for a 11-month-old.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a different expectation for toddlers than you do babies. And then a different expectation for, young children and middle schoolers and teenagers, and right? There's a maturing that happens, and we should not be content of being stunted in our growth and always stay second graders spiritually, or always stay second graders with how we manage our anger, or always stay second graders spiritually in the way that we express a lack of love towards our enemies, right? We should, hopefully, the longer you've been walking with Jesus, you're going to, but that means you have to learn new things. You're never going to be a senior in high school if you don't learn to read in 2nd grade.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen. So you have to progress. And there's some work involved with that. And we hate this idea. We hate the idea that there's work involved with our character, because we're so glad there's no work involved with us going to heaven. So then I'm like, great, give me that free ticket to heaven, and I'm not going to do any more work in order to be able to be a better person.
Right.
And Jesus wants to change us here even while he's taking us there. And that means that we're going to have to make some hard choices. But God promises to bless us. And I can't think of anything I need more in my life than God's favor while I'm living out my everyday life.
When you said work at your character, what came to my mind is people's character at work. So I was thinking people at work, because a lot of our tension-filled relationships are at work, enemies, bosses, coworkers. I know. So anyway, I was just thinking okay, there are some relationships, like enemy-defined, quote-unquote relationships, that are so hostile that maybe the best thing to do is just to avoid them and not say anything and just be quiet. So I do understand that. But there are some where they're more like frenemy type things, where I would just give the people advice who are listening just to kill them with kindness, right? So just actively be kinder. And by the way, it's such a better way to live than to be petty and to play the game of treating them like an enemy. If you kill them with kindness, number one, you're going to feel better about yourself. Number two, you're demonstrating the love of Christ, giving him glory. Number three, you're going to demonstrate that this is the way to live. And then also there's that whole convicting thing, right?
Yeah.
Like a person who doesn't know Christ sees that and says, how can they do that? And there's like a conviction that goes along with that. Not to mention, it feels good. And on the selfish side, sometimes it makes them angrier, which makes you feel better anyway.
Well, the book of Romans says that.
Yeah.
Right? There's a couple of places in the Bible that talk about that, to do good to your enemies, and it's like heaping coals of fire on their head.
Yeah, that's Proverbs, right?
Yeah, Proverbs talks about that.
Yeah,
Proverbs, Psalms. Psalms or Proverbs.
Oh, Psalms, yeah.
Yeah, heaping coals of fire on their head. Romans quotes that idea as well, that there is this, when you choose to be to go the high road and somebody's trying to bait you into a fight. Book of Proverbs says only by pride comes contention. And it's saying it takes two people's pride to cause a fight. If one person has pride and you choose to be humble, there's no fight coming. It requires that you do the wrong thing and I have a sinful response. My pride rises up against your pride, turns into a fight. That's what happens every time. So if I decide instead, you know what, I'm not going to be baited down into this fight, then I rise above it. What that does for a reasonably good person is you go, ugh. And it makes you mad, or it makes you feel bad that they chose the right way and you were choosing the wrong way.
That's right.
It kind of pauses it, and it highlights that. The Bible's right on that. So there is that advantage as well. So there's all the other things you said that winds up being for our benefit, for God's glory and all that kind of stuff. But it also does put the entire argument or fight into a perspective that makes the other person, their own conscience begins to work against them too.
So I'll wrap it up by saying it is in Proverbs.
Yeah, Proverbs 25.
25, and it says this: if your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head, and the Lord will reward you. So holy cow.
Hey, anytime the Bible says the Lord will reward you or bless you, let's just go do that. Your life is going to be better.
And Romans 12:20 is the one that quotes that.
There you go.
There
I told
is.
you Romans quoted it.
Yep.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, let's wrap it up.
That's why we're the
our
Bible
time.
guys.
That's right.
It takes both of us. You get the Old Testament, I get the New Testament.
Boom.
Bang, there we are.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, on the Bible Guys.